It's been 30 years since Donkey Kong Country was released for the Super Nintendo, and this franchise has not only marked my life in the world of video games, but also that of many people around the world. It redefined the adventure game genre, setting a quality standard that few companies have managed to match to this day. So, responding to a request from a follower, I decided to dedicate an entire video to talk about Donkey Kong Country 1, right here on It's Great Games. It's a detailed video, made with a lot of care. Feel free to watch it and share your opinion. Characters and challenges in Donkey Kong Country. Both games in the Donkey Kong trilogy were developed by Rare while they were still partnered with Nintendo, offering high-quality titles. In the first game of the franchise for the Super Nintendo, we play as Donkey Kong, the grandson of Cranky Kong, the grumpy old man who loves to complain. He is also the grandson of Wrinkly Kong, who only appears in the second game of the series, although neither she nor Cranky Kong are playable characters. Alongside Donkey Kong, we have his nephew Diddy Kong, with whom we can switch during the game. Each character has unique abilities that complement each other perfectly, making the gameplay even more fun and strategic. Donkey Kong is the strongest character and has superior attack power. He can defeat larger and more powerful enemies more easily. In some levels, he is the only one capable of breaking certain barrels and obstacles that Diddy Kong cannot destroy. However, because he is bigger and heavier, his jumps are lower and less agile compared to Diddy Kong. Additionally, Donkey Kong can pound the ground to collect more bananas, for example. On the other hand, Diddy Kong is smaller and faster, which allows him to move with more agility. He is generally more effective for collecting bonuses, as his jumps are higher, and he can cover more ground easily. This makes him ideal for avoiding obstacles and reaching distant platforms. However, Diddy Kong lacks Donkey Kong's strength, meaning he can't destroy certain types of barrels or defeat larger enemies with the same ease. It's worth noting that, unfortunately, in this version of the game, it's not possible to carry the other character on your back to reach greater distances, like in Donkey Kong Country 2. We also have Funky Kong, a great surfer from DK Island. His surfboard is not only used for surfing, but also as his partner. Despite his surfer appearance, Funky always has to work on his plane, where he takes passengers. Funky Kong is the big champion of the orangutan dance and is always looking for the next big wave to surf. And we have another ally named Candy Kong. She is the first female character in the series, acting as Donkey Kong's girlfriend, but Bluster Kong, her boss at the barrel factory, also likes her, and he only appears in the animated series.
Marry me, Candy! Yes! And we can live out my last golden days together in the cushy luxury of my mother's mansion.
Just like the Kongs, she helps the heroes a lot, is very romantic, and loves Donkey Kong. We can see a framed photo of him in Candy's music shop. The same thing happens if, at the beginning of the game, we return to Donkey Kong's house. We can see a photo of his girlfriend, Candy, on the wall. She was also Swanky Kong's assistant in the Donkey Kong Country 2 remake on GBA. The one who appears in the second game of the franchise, asking questions and giving life balloons as prizes for the correct answers. However, Candy Kong's purpose in this game doesn't go beyond activating the game's save mode. The story and world of Donkey Kong Country. The story takes place on a quiet night on Donkey Kong Island. A huge banana horde collected by Donkey Kong and his family is stolen by the evil crocodile King K. Rool and his army, the Kremlings. K. Rool's motivation is not just greed, but also a desire to humiliate Donkey Kong and his family. Upon discovering the theft, Donkey Kong teams up with his nephew Diddy Kong, a young and agile partner I mentioned earlier, and who everyone already knows, to embark on a journey across the island to recover their precious bananas, right after Donkey Kong sees his hoard empty. Together, they traverse a series of varied environments, from tropical forests to caves, factories, and snowy peaks, facing the Kremlings and other dangers along the way. During this journey is where the fun begins. And as the game progresses, we can appreciate how rich and well-made Donkey Kong Country is even to this day. The game takes place on Donkey Kong Island, home to the Kong family and the main setting for the game. The island has a unique shape, with Donkey Kong's silhouette carved into a mountain, making it visually iconic. The island is divided into 7 different themes, which some people call worlds. I'll take this moment to drop the keyword for this video. Which is the best Donkey Kong of the trilogy? Whoever answers will get a heart. What's left behind in Donkey Kong Country 1? The gameplay of Donkey Kong Country is good, but not everything is perfect. One downside of the game is that a lot of it boils down to gaining lives. When we collect the letters that form the word Kong, we earn an extra life, and these letters are present in every level. In addition, the balloons are also just about gaining lives. The red balloon gives 1 life, the green one gives 2, and the blue one gives 3. Collecting 100 bananas also results in an extra life. The bonuses, which could have been a highlight, are also focused on giving lives. In some bonuses, for example, you collect golden animals, and every 3 of the same species lead you to a bonus stage. And guess what? There, you also earn more lives. This makes Donkey Kong Country 1 fall behind DKC 2, which has bonuses with much more interesting objectives. But that's something I'll talk about in another video. If you'd like an exclusive video on Donkey Kong Country 2, leave your comment, as it would be great to talk about the best game in the franchise, in my opinion. An important thing in DKC 1 is that to achieve 101% completion, you need to find all the bonuses. The game is full of barrels that help you advance, defeat enemies, and even find bonuses. When the name of the level appears with an exclamation mark, it means that all bonuses have been discovered. Maybe you already know this, but I decided to make a very detailed video. In addition, Donkey Kong Country is also full of secret passages that allow the player to progress faster. Unfortunately, there's no competition for who collects the most DK coins per level, which only happens in DKC 2 and DKC 3. In 1994, Donkey Kong Country brought something revolutionary to the world of video games. At that time, there was nothing that came close to the graphical, musical, and gameplay quality the game offered. The success was so overwhelming that the title soared in sales, surpassing 5 million copies sold, not to mention the pirated versions that circulated in various markets. The demand was so high that in some cases, consoles were sold with Donkey Kong instead of Super Mario World. A bold choice, considering Mario had always been Nintendo's main mascot. This swap sparked real internal competition within the company, as Super Mario World was, and still is, a favorite for many. Regarding the bosses of each world, it's fair to say they're not particularly challenging. Many are simply color-enhanced versions of earlier bosses, something that could have been more polished. However, this detail is easily forgiven when considering the grandeur of the rest of the game. The levels, for instance, are rich in detail, featuring incredible themes and graphics. Each environment is graphically stunning and culminates in the final confrontation against King K. Rool, the leader of the Kremlings, who stole the precious bananas from our heroic apes. In a fictional world where crocodiles are interested in bananas. The soundtrack is another absolute highlight and deserves to be praised. Few games, even today, managed to achieve the level of mastery that Donkey Kong Country did with its music. Each track fits perfectly with the theme of its respective stage, elevating the player's experience to another level. Ignoring the soundtrack in a video about Donkey Kong would be almost a sin. While I consider the soundtrack of Donkey Kong Country 2 to be even superior, the one from the first game already surpasses thousands of titles to this day. Even decades later, it remains a benchmark of quality, proving that some games are true works of art, immune to the passage of time. Even today, Donkey Kong Country is as delightful as it was in 1994. I didn't go into many details about each Kremling in the game, as that would take considerable time in the video. But if you dive in and finish the game, you'll see each enemy for yourself. It's worth noting that reaching 101% completion doesn't change much, other than a special symbol in your save file. In DK1, this is more a matter of honor and a reward for the most dedicated fans, those who love and dedicate themselves to Donkey Kong Country. It's a wonderful game that everyone should play, and not a single negative point in this game can eliminate the dedication Rare had in delivering the best to us. As I mentioned in my last two videos, I would like to thank everyone who watched and sent in codename suggestions. Although it wasn't a large number of suggestions, choosing one was harder than I imagined. But after much consideration, I came to the conclusion that Sambaret 867 was the best suggestion. The name has a touch of mystery, and since I've lived in Ireland, it draws inspiration from the Irish Gaelic O Banain, meaning descendant of Banan. O Banain also refers to iconic places in Dublin, like the famous O'Connell Street. So, I've concluded that I am Snarf O'Bannon. I hope you like this choice. I'll leave 2 videos as suggestions for you to watch. And don't forget to comment if you'd like me to make a video just about Donkey Kong Country 2.